I'm Logan Crawford, and this is The Right Way, a video podcast where I speak to the world's most intriguing writers. Today, I am speaking with Loveheimer, the creator of an important must-have how-to manual on love and relationships. It is called The Land of My Naked Soul, an exciting journey on the wonderful and complicated land of love. Loveheimer, thank you so much for joining us here today.
Thank you for having me again. Thank you.
It's a very complicated land of love. People have trouble even defining what love is. So let's start with the big question. What is love?
Indeed, I think I reflected myself on this question for years. However, I wrote yesterday an article. I got inspired somehow, and I wrote an article, and my answer that came via that article is that practically love comes from self-love first. Mm-hmm. And when you think about self-love, you are tempted to say maybe it's about taking care of, setting boundaries, go to a spa, have a massage, treat yourself nice. However, in my view and in my character's view is that meaning of love when you really manage to bind yourself with somebody at that high level that you feel that that person is you and you are them. You find yourself, a version of yourself in that person, and the only way to survive that connection is via love. You do not have the possibility to escape any relationship. It could be a basic one, it could be a very deep one, unless you have some feelings, some energy that is involved in that connection. And everything that teaches you via that connection is about love, in my view.
Absolutely, absolutely. You start out in your book talking about the importance of eyes. That's how you make the connection first. The eyes, of course, are always known as the windows to the soul. Tell me a little bit of what you see in a person's eyes and why that connection is so important with you.
It's like a way to the other one, but a way to yourself as well. It's like you dive deep inside of the other person, if they will let you, if those windows are going to be open, because sometimes you look in somebody's eyes and you see nothing, you don't connect, you don't have the opportunity to see the colors of the soul of the other person. However, sometimes they do let you inside because it is meant to be that way, because they find a piece of their own soul in you. So the connection is automatically, it's like when you try to go to internet and the connection is happening. So it is important. I think it's like a written book behind our eyes. We don't even know about it. Sometimes it has secrets that we are not even aware about. But in the moment we connect with each other and we let ourselves naked, vulnerable, fragile in front of the other one and let ourselves open, you can see in somebody's human being via the eyes, opening those windows and let yourself go with the flow.
Absolutely. And hence the title, The Land of My Naked Soul. So that means more than, of course, being physically naked, but it means being vulnerable and open to the other person so you can achieve intimacy, I presume.
Exactly. That's the correct word, and it fits to this description. You cannot achieve intimacy if you don't let yourself be vulnerable. Fragile, you might be hurt, you might get hurt out of the connection, but everything is meant to happen for your growth, for your own self-development, for your own recognition as an individual, and then as a part of a world where everybody is actually the same. We are one.
People mistake, though, intimacy with sex. They feel if they're having sex with the person, they're intimate with the person. But that's not necessarily true. The intimacy comes through revealing yourself and letting the person inside to know your strength and weaknesses, correct?
Correct. Sex is something that animals do as well. I'm not sure they have intimacy, though. I have not been in their skin, but I'm not sure they have intimacy, though. It could be in some, we've watched a lot of movies and videos where we see that the animals do act like a family. They do act as together as a flock, and they survive of this world. But on the other side, if you think about it, it's only about survival. Sex is a need. Sex is a basic need, an animal instinct that is inside of you. You have to follow it. Not in any circumstances, but it's good, it's healthy, it's a must to have in any connections, if you ask me. But intimacy is something different. It's not just passion, it's not just the burning fire that you feel, it's actually a level of connection that you feel with the other one until from two you become one. Because he's you or she is you and you are them. And it's not possible to do that unless you open yourself, unless you let yourself be vulnerable, unless you are going to say, yes, I'm going to take it, I'm going to grab it, I'm going to dive deep, no matter what the risk might are, because you feel the danger, you feel it is there, you feel it might break your heart, but you do it anyway.
And this is where the element of trust comes in, because you really have to trust that person to truly achieve intimacy, correct?
Trust is a very big word, and I think it's the basic way of surviving this planet. You have to trust to go to a store. You have to trust to go to have a podcast and talk to the other one and know that this is going to happen. You have to talk about trust when you connect with a stranger on a bus. You have to talk about trust from basic level of trust to high level of trust when you involve trust in a connection, relationship, marriage, etc. So trust indeed is something that is needed. However, in my opinion, what drives me, for example, in my case, this is not just about trust, it's an intuition that I have to go there. It's a feeling, it's something beyond my power of understanding. Sometimes I just know it's right, even if it feels, it looks wrong sometimes. I know I have to go in that direction. So it's not just a rational decision that you make, I'm going to trust this process, but it's also based on some intuition, some inside feeling that says, just do it, jump.
Absolutely. And that's the tricky part, because you say it's not necessarily a rational decision. And that's very true. There's nothing rational about love. There's nothing that rational about falling into love with a certain person. It's kind of chemistry, it's a connection, it's nuance, it's intangibles. So that's why this is a complicated land, as you say in your book, right?
Exactly. It's not like you can follow the GPS and it takes you where you have to be.
Right.
It's more like, okay, I know I have to be there. I'm just going to figure it out how. Sometimes you have they call it luck. I would say that is the right person at the right time, guiding you. You have those people who are meant to come into your life to just give you a message. If you have your soul in the ears and eyes wide open, you're going to identify the sign, and if you follow the sign, it's going to be a very interesting, beautiful journey. You just have to learn that language, call it universe, call it God, whatever. Everybody is free to call it in whichever way they want to do it. But if you learn how to do that, it's like a movie when exactly on the right time, something happens to take you where you are supposed to be, if you have faith as well.
Exactly. When you least expect it, expect it. That's kind of part of the fun and the process. And the fact that it's not rational, that's what makes love fun, makes it different from everything else. I notice on your cover, you have a lioness. And I think that's a little symbolic of you. You say you like the hunt in your book as well. I think most people, if they're honest, they do like the hunt. They'll say, I don't want to play games. I just want to get into a relationship. But if you immediately get into a relationship like this, the intrigue is gone. So tell me about the importance of the hunt to you and to other people who are on the quest for love.
I think as you mentioned, everybody has this basic hunting instinct in them. They just sometimes maybe they don't recognize it. Sometimes maybe they think it's too basic, too animal, too wild, and too scary. Sometimes it could be scary, right? It's so intense, such an intense feeling that it could go beyond your rational ways of planning your life. However, yes, lioness is a symbol, is also my Leo sign. I feel it, it's in me, it's there from every perspective. And looking at not just me and the character of the book, but also other people around me, they all have it in them. You can see it in their eyes when they go into a room, and you can see how by instinct they try to search something they don't have, or maybe something they have but they still want to have, or something they want to have in their future. So it's there. You just have to interpret a little bit the body language, to look in the eyes, the hands, the way of walking, the way of acting, smiling, and so on, and you will identify it's there. And it's a beautiful game. It's a game of love. It's fiery, it's burning. I think it would be a pity, and I would strongly recommend also for women, not just for men, because maybe it comes more natural for men, but I think for women it's something still to be discovered. Some women really prefer that kind of stable relationship, but as you said, at some point it could be too stable.
Right.
So could be that you need to bring back the game and the hunting mode on, because this is what we are. We have to recognize that either we do that, or at some point, unfortunately, we look somewhere else.
Right, right. And that's what I was going to say to you. So what happens after the hunt? You see that special someone across the crowded room on a wonderful evening. You get the courage up, you speak to him or her, you connect, you go out, you have this wonderful storybook relationship for the first 6 months, maybe a year, and then the hunt is over. She's yours or he's yours. What's that?
You have to bring the drama on. So you can bring some intrigue to your relationship. Then you always have to find together, and that is the most beautiful thing, right? You found each other. Therefore, you need to have something unique that happened. However, how do you move on? Yeah, you move on by trying to reach the next level. But this time, you are not alone. You are in two. This time you are more powerful. This time you can hunt together. This time you can conquer the world if you want. You just have to reach for the next level. And when you are an individual and you try to develop yourself, you do recognize that limit, that boundaries, that makes you afraid of what's going to come, but you still do it. Into the challenges that you have to do it together, and maybe you're ready, the other one is not. So the intrigue, the passion, the challenge, and the drama comes exactly from that, because it could be two different stages of development, and the challenge is to bring them both partners in the same spot, so they can go to the next level, the next comfort zone, which could be meaning more than what used to be.
Are very passionate relationships more problematic, more unstable? What do you think?
I think my opinion is they look that way, but if you look they look that way from the eyes of a person who looks for stability and no drama, no stress, because it does bring a dose of stress, and in order to manage that is not for everybody. I also write in my books, love is not really for everybody. You can't handle it. It's better to just keep yourself on your development journey, but don't try to involve others, because it could be a mess as well. However, mess or not, it's meant to take you where you are meant to arrive. So it is from the distance, if you look as an observer, it's more like, I would say, when you play a game with different levels, you play a game or video game on a computer, it could be very intriguing. Next level, you have to fight with the enemy or a dragon or whatever. Sometimes you need to save the princess or the prince. It depends. Sometimes the prince needs to be saved as well.
Absolutely.
So it's for me. It's a game with big children.
Absolutely. Now, here's another question that kind of lends itself. Is monogamy a natural state for people? Are we meant to just have one person in our life that we have a happily ever after with? Well, what are your thoughts? I know there's not a definitive question. You'll get different answers from different people, but you've literally written the book here. So let me see what you think about monogamy and relationships.
I think some would be tempted to say that it's not natural. However, me, maybe due to my Leo sign or not, I don't know, I'm one of the most loyal persons that could exist on this planet. If the relationship is worth, if I didn't feel that it reached its end, if I know that we can develop together, if there is potential, there is a big if for that. So monogamy doesn't come as, yeah, I value marriage and I'm not against it, and maybe sometimes I will experience that again. But with that vow, I'm not in agreement that we should say just, yeah, forever and ever. No, there should be a need there.
Right.
If we develop, if it's working, if we see that we reached our comfort zone, and then we can go to the next one together. Because otherwise, you are going to act like the animal that you have inside of you, and you are going to reach for the next person. It is what it is. It can't be. It's realistic to think this way. Otherwise, if work is not involved here in the relationship, because that is actually what it's about as well. It's not just about passion, feelings, and so on. It's also about putting an amount of work to develop together, like as you would do with with your own job.
Right.
It's going to be an if. From my opinion, it has to be there. Right. In small modes.
Absolutely, absolutely. And it's different in different cultures. I mean, I think in some cultures, people will have a mistress or someone and still be in a relationship. And so they're actually compartmentalizing the different parts of their lives. So it's a complicated land, as you say. But this is where you said controlling your animal instincts is important. If you truly love this person, if you truly care for this person, then you need to put aside whatever attraction you might have for someone else and focus on the person you love and the person you're committed to. So I guess that's where commitment comes in.
Exactly. And I think I am convinced of the fact that this passion, attraction, and so on for somebody else it is not going to occur unless something is missing from your current relationship. I am a person that takes the partners one at a time. You can't be, maybe some others could be, but you can't be focused. It's too much energy to involve in that. It's not the same level of energy. So it depends on what you are looking for. Because it could be also, I wrote a book about that as well. It could be also that you are just in a hunting mode and you just want to experience, you want to connect, you want to see what exactly this means to really go for it and have no feelings involved and just do it. But I believe that you can't be in love with two persons in the same time, for example. That's not possible.
Right.
From my opinion, yeah.
Yep. I can certainly see that. Do you believe in love at first sight? This is something people write about, something people seem to feel. They meet a person on a special night, they feel like they fall in love with that person. So what are your thoughts on that? Love at first sight.
I believe in love before the sight. Meaning sometimes, something major in your life is going to happen if you are really connected with yourself and with your soul, the energy, you feel it, that is going to come. It's going to be like a big wave that is going to hit you. You just need to identify the person. And sometimes you find that person, maybe at the beginning you will be like, okay, not this one, but then you turn around again and it is going to be that person. So yes, I believe in this concept.
As far as building a relationship goes, how important is communication?
Very important. I think is the key, and I experienced and learned that myself pretty late in my own journey. Sometimes you tend to say that it should be communication should be just at basic level, but actually it's more than that. Sometimes it could be also telepathic. You do meet that type of person. You don't need to use too many words. You just know the way they are thinking. They know the way you are thinking, and you just act upon it. But in order to solve, life is hard. In order to solve all the disagreements, misunderstandings, we are now in the position that we can have relationships with different cultures, people from different countries. Everybody is looking at the same object in a different way. So you need to come to in the middle and discuss the way you see the problem, if there is any problem, and try to find the resolution for that topic. It's not easy, and I think it's critical in a relationship to have that. You have to develop those skills. And if I were to think to the question that you put me last time about social media, all sorts of apps that have been developed during COVID, especially. That was a big, major, critical thing to have. Communication. If you want to take me out, where out didn't even mean going really out because of COVID. So you had to communicate. You had to develop those skills.
Right.
It doesn't work otherwise.
Absolutely. Men have more of a problem with this than women, I believe. Men tend to withdraw when they're hurt or withdraw when they're angry and shut down and kind of walk away. So that's an important message, I think, for our male listeners to pay attention to.
Well, women could be that way as well.
Okay.
I am that way as well. If I get to the point that I really reached that high level of anger, sometimes I act upon it. When I was younger, I used to do that, but now I believe that the best way to do that is to give each other space. Everybody should go in its corner, his or own corner, and then after a while, I communicate way easier also via writing. That actually inspires me. After a fight, I'll probably go and write an article because it inspired me, and this is how you heal. But then again, you do have to come to the round table again and try to discuss the issue. The method doesn't really matter. It's just you have to open up. If you put everything under the carpet, it might not work. It will come back at some point.
When it comes to relationships, do you believe marriage should be the goal?
Marriage is not really a goal. When it is for young girls from my generation, it was like a goal. It was seen like that because you had to get married until a certain age, you had to have children until a certain age, you had to have a career until a certain age. The pressure was on, and the pressure was high because sometimes if you were 30 years old and you were not married, it was still a question mark there. But I learned that actually marriage itself should be a choice. It's not really a goal. If you are happy as being single, I experienced that for 13 years. It's nothing wrong with that. Although the society will put the pressure on you because of that. But then again, marriage should be a choice like you would choose any other thing for which you have passion for. Try to think about maybe the comparison now would be rough, but marriage means work as well. So look at it as a passionate job that you would like to do it or not. But in the same time, you have to bring love on the table this time. And love is a major and important criteria. Sex as well is not going to work. A marriage is not going to work without that. I'm not talking about when you are going to be 90 years old. Yeah, I'm talking about the other ages. But it's a package, and this is why you have to be very much aware of your choice when you are making it. You say yes to the choice, but then you can't guarantee that it's going to take you where you think you are going to. go with that concept.
It's interesting, and you talked about growing up. You also talk in your book about how you're raised and your religious background and how that affected your relationship. That is a real factor for a lot of people, how they're programmed early on, what they're supposed to do, what is expected of them. And that can be positive, but it also can have a negative impact as well. How do you see balancing how you were raised, the morals, the values, your religion, and forging a relationship?
When I started to write my first book, actually in my blog, exactly to meditate on that, because I was experiencing a divorce, something that you should not experience according to the country that I am coming from. Yeah, it was still something strange in the family, in the connections, friendships, and so on. You will get isolated because of that if you are not part of the married people. Yeah, you will see, you would go in the bar, you are single or married. It's a difference there. But then again, the balance comes from finding your inner happiness, and the moment you do not care anymore of what the noise around you is saying. Because the moment you are going to feel at peace with yourself, you are going to understand, looking from a very different perspective, a very high level at your own self. It's really not about the others. It's just about you. It's about the journey you have. It's about your own choices, and it's about your own way of experiencing love. Some will experience it in a marriage forever and ever. Some will experience it in more than one marriage. Some will just experience it by themselves, because this is how it's going. But balance is something that should not come from the outside. It should be searched inside of you, with a lot of work, a lot of meditation, music, trips inside of your soul, outside of your soul, and so on. But connect with your soul and try to find what is the answer to the question, what is my purpose on this planet? Why am I here?
Right. That's an important question. It's a question we're all trying to figure out as we go along, and we piece our puzzles together the best we can. I think the pressures of religion and society have lessened over the years. I remember when I got divorced, 20 years ago or so, I was Roman Catholic. I was the first in my family to be divorced. It was a lot to deal with on that level. While I was kind of relieved I was getting out of a bad relationship, I was put under the pressure of, you failed.
Yeah.
And people will say to you when they hear you're divorced, and they'll say something like, oh, I'm sorry, like they hear about a death. And, sometimes being divorced is like a rebirth, that you're very happy to be out of a bad relationship. And if you were committed to the relationship, by the time that relationship ends, and if you take marriage seriously, you are very happy to be out of the relationship. So things have changed. I think it's better for people because they're not put under those stresses.
Exactly. And my own experience taught me that it's better to get rid of those negative energies. It's better to just go alone on the journey if there is nobody that really understands your choices, or at least empathizes with your choices, because keeping those persons around you in that moment when you are going through your major transformation, because divorce is a transformation. You are going down not because you failed. You are going down because you have wounds inside of you that are trying to come up, and you have to solve them somehow. You have to heal them somehow. And sometimes we do not know. This is why we chose to, okay, I'm gonna give up to this relationship, which sometimes is very toxic one. So you have to choose what's best for you. But these endings are the beginnings, and people outside do not understand that they have basic view on marriage, that you have to stay in that marriage no matter what. They will not understand that, and they will put unnecessary pressure on you, and that is very damaging. It could be very damaging. I experienced it, and I lost friends. I lost part of my family back then. They will come back when you will be in the good spot again.
Absolutely. And the people who truly care for you, who truly are your friends, who truly love you, will be with you through thick and thin. They're certainly not going to cast you aside because of something they might not agree with. Let's turn to a question from a viewer. When it comes to relationships, is more better? Do you become more highly skilled the more you date? And does that positively or negatively impact relationships? What say you?
Definitely. You become more skilled in feeling, smelling, touching, hunting the other one without too much chaos around this game. Sometimes when you are 20, you act in a total different way when comparing to when you are going to be 40 at that game. Sometimes it is indeed a disadvantage because you know too much. So the game ends from the beginning. you already know where that could take you. So you might choose not to go there. It takes a little bit from the innocence and the pureness of the soul that you have when you are in a teenager phase, let's say like that. However, every single thing that you learned about this hunting game and the skills that you have now, you develop, they are meant to give you the power to go to the next level. Therefore, maybe you are not going to attract the same people you used to attract 10 years ago, but you are definitely going to attract something better. So I would say it's more positive than negative.
Right. And I guess it's like any game. You become skilled at chess. You know certain moves work, right? I mean, not to sound...
You need a higher challenge. More you develop, more your standards are going to be up, and you need something more. And sometimes you need to wait more because of that, as you're not going to find it that fast anymore.
Absolutely. Here's another viewer question. High school sweethearts, is their love deeper? Somebody who meets somebody that they knew as a teenager, let's say that very first relationship of yours had worked out and there hadn't been the rest of your life in between as far as love and relationships go. Would that be great? Would that be not so great? I mean, I know we're asking a lot of you here, but what are your thoughts?
I have already the answer because I already experienced that. I had the why question in my head for 10 years. That question haunted me for 10 years. And even if I was married already, I would be like, what if? Why did that end? What if we would have made another choice? Attracting the type of relationship, it depends on us. So the moment you have in your thoughts the question, at some point the answer will come. You just have to be patient. In my case, came after 10 years. I was going already through the divorce, and I had the opportunity to meet my sweetheart from high school. But I already saw as well, it was not what it used to be. So the answer came already, that what if actually is just a hunting question that your brain is putting it there, but it's not really a soul matter, I would say. Sometimes it could be. After 20 years, you meet the person that you knew back then. But then again, if you developed extremely fast comparing to the other person, you will not connect anymore. If you are on the same level of development, let's say it's like going to a different school, but when you meet again, you find yourselves again. Yeah, it could be possible that you continue. But it's not because it was what people say it's meant to be, he or she was meant to be. It's because you just developed and finally you can connect, and even stronger maybe than before. That could be possible. But no, it's love is love. As I said, you can love so many people in so many different ways. It's really not a good idea to get stuck on one type of love.
Absolutely. And that brings us to our next question. You hear the phrase, my one and only. Is there really my one and only? What are your thoughts?
They are all my one and only, because they are you. They are part of you. They reflected something that you were at that time. It can't be, you can't be in a denial and say, oh, they were nothing actually. But, oh yes, they were. They were at that stage. They were part of what you are supposed to be, and denying them is denying you. So I think everybody is the one. Everybody that you connect with in a deeper relationship is the one. The only one that they prefer to say, it's again connected to the marriage idea. Mm-hmm. Because they say, if I got married with this person, then it must have been the one.
Right.
But actually, you just finally got to that stage, in my opinion, that you finally shaped yourself beautiful like a diamond. Somebody now recognizes you, has the same type of diamond inside themselves, and you just bring yourselves together. There is no one and all. There are many. It would be a shame to be just one and only, because this world is beautiful. We should experience more.
Absolutely. There are beautiful countries, there are beautiful seas, there are beautiful mountains. There's a lot than just one beautiful place. There's a lot more than just one person who's right for you. And that's comforting for someone who is going through a breakup. I think it's interesting because you're talking about people having the marriage paradigm and marriage as a goal in mind. I think most couples don't realize marriage is not a goal. Marriage is not an end. It is a beginning. And that's really where the hard work begins, in keeping that relationship a loving relationship and a good, healthy relationship.
Exactly, because at some point you have so much other external factors coming in and disturbing that balance that you thought that you have once you got married. Now you have to continuously work, and this work starts with yourself. Self-improvement, continuously checking boxes where you had a wound, where you had a flaw, where you had something that it's a scratch on your soul, and you have to see what that is about, because it will reflect on the other one. Being like a mirror to each other is going to shake the boat if you are not paying attention and let yourself in the flow of work, life, stress, and so on. So it's not a goal, it's continuous improvement, continuous development. And the scope, if I would be to go to search for a scope, would be the balance, the inner happiness, no matter which type of relationships you are going to experience.
If you were to offer a first aid kit to someone who's going through a bad breakup, what would you say the essential elements are? What must he or she do to get over that broken heart?
Nothing lasts forever. Nothing, absolutely nothing. Whatever the feeling, the burning feeling that it's inside of them, sometimes it could be they feel it in their chest, sometimes they feel it in their body, in their mind, in their whole human being. Nothing lasts forever, and is not meant to leave you there unless you want to stay there. You have to move on, to move through that hell, to really push yourself every single day to search answers. Why did that happen? What is the scope of it? What can you use as an opportunity to develop? And use that pain in your own benefit to create something. Maybe you create like a masterpiece, you create a song, you create a book, you create a new relationship out of it, a rebound relationship. Wherever that is, move forward, because it doesn't stop there. It can't. Only if you want to stop there. Only if you want to sit there. You can sit there and cry forever, or you can get up, put some smiley face on and fight it on, because you have to move on. You have to discover yourself. It's not the end.
I think you made the first point very, very well in the beginning of our interview, is self-love is the most important thing. So after you've gone through a big breakup, I'd imagine self-love, self-care, surrounding yourself with friends and people who do love you, all of that is very, very important. And so many people do not let go. I think they almost want to keep the passion alive in some level. And that passion might be a very negative energy once the breakup happens. But it's important to focus on what's good in your life and what you will build next, and to take some time to grieve, of course, like you would over a person who died, I presume.
Yes, it's a very painful process, but you don't shape a diamond by simply looking at it. It's a process. You cut it. That cut in the real life can hurt a lot. However, it's not meant to kill you. It's meant to transform you. And it could be also the mind that plays an important role here, because if you let your mind taking the control of your own soul, heart, body, is going to be a disaster in progress, unloading. Yeah, it's not going to be a good experience. It is going to be very hard to come back from the dark hole that where mind takes you. Use the mind as in the service of the heart. Try to find the answers on the other way around, not in a just in a rational mode. The relationship ended, but I want it back because passion was there. This is I've been there, I've done that. I was thinking, is this obsession, is this addiction, what exactly is that? Why am I coming back? Why am I doing this when I knew that it shouldn't be that way? But sometimes it's such a mix of feelings of feeling guilty, feeling that you failed, feeling your mind and your ego is telling, go back, go back. Actually, you have to move forward. You have to let it go, because also there is a big saying, and it's not mine. You know, once you let it go and somebody comes back in your life, well, that means you have to experience something else on a different level, but you need to develop yourself in the meantime.
Right. And I also don't think you can be in love alone. You can't be in love alone. So if you feel the relationship was good and didn't want it to end, you probably were missing some signs that your partner wasn't connected like he or she should have been, and that you deserve more, that you deserve to be happy, you deserve love, you deserve to have the relationship that a wonderful person like each one of us deserves.
It's an interesting point, what you just said, because in my opinion is that we do not attract something that is not already inside of us. Meaning, if we attracted a relationship that was just based on sex and we started to feel used, is because at the beginning of the relationship, for sure you had this thought in the back of your mind that this is what you can handle, this is what you are, this is what you want to experience. But then you developed and you want something else. That person in front of you, if they do not go through the same development process, they have different journey, they will frustrate you, and you will start to feel used because oh my God, I want something more, but you don't give it to me. It wasn't meant to be given. It was meant to live what you wanted actually in the back of your mind to experience. So we have to find the answers inside of us. We are all beautiful. We are all wonderful, but be very much aware of the fact that actually they were your own mirror. So if you experience something, it's because you are that way. You wanted that. So after it's gone, it means you are ready for the next level. You can't go back.
Absolutely. Tell me a little bit about your work. Are you working on a new book now?
Yes.
Tell me about that. Whatever you can share.
Yes, I'm gonna give a sneak peek. I'm not sure, as always, where this will take me, because I never know where my books take me. However, I definitely know that the character that has been involved in the 4 books is coming up again in this book. It's very much focused on the main topic, love, but this time it involves the idea of family as well. And the constellation of a family, what the family actually could bring in a connection that you have with some other, the positive and the negatives, the background, and how do you fight that feeling to take yourself out from that dynamics. and create your own constellation, your own legacy. So I think it takes me to that direction.
That's a wonderful
But
concept. I like it already. Tell me about writing The Land of My Naked Soul. Was that therapeutic for you? Was that, a time to be introspective and learn about yourself? I'd imagine it was a great time of discovery.
it was indeed a great time of discovery, and it was meant to bring out the messages and the information that I had inside, but I didn't know what exactly that was about. So it started as a diary, but then it created some characters as well. And I noticed that it brings me to a happy place each time I write. Another chapter, another chapter. And then what I definitely noticed was that people around me were vibing with those chapters, because I firstly put them out there. This is how I do as well. I put part of the books on the blog for people to read. And then I gather all the chapters and put them together, and I create the book as well. And I saw that it's healing for somebody else also. Oh, so that was what I was going through. You are so right. I experienced the same. And I realized actually everybody's experiencing the same thing at some point. It's nothing new for yourself. It's not just for you. It's just the way, the attitude that you have on that topic is what makes you unique. But the experiences are quite more or less the same for everybody, if they choose to live that.
Absolutely. And that's what I like best about reading, whether it's fiction or nonfiction, is that you discover characters who are going through just what you're going through, thinking just what you are thinking, or felt just what you felt. The name of the book is The Land of My Naked Soul, an exciting journey on the wonderful and complicated land of love. We've been speaking with Loveheimer. It's been a fantastic conversation. I think we've answered a lot of your questions. If you want to know more about her and her work, download her book on Kindle, purchase it on Amazon. It's well worth the money. It's a terrific read. Loveheimer, thank you so much for joining us here today.
Thank you very much. It was an honor and a pleasure.
The pleasure is all mine. And I'm Logan Crawford. Until next time on The Right Way.